I like to use fleece for pattern practice. It's a similar thickness to the leather, and if the pattern works out, you end up with a nice comfy pair of slippers. Not terribly durable slippers, but, you know, comfy. So, time to start cutting these out. I'm just rough cutting these pieces and then clipping the pattern to the fabric for the final cutout. These craft clips are new to me, but I am finding them very helpful in places where pinning would deform the fabric too much or damage the fabric in the case of leather. It definitely does a very good job of holding everything nice and flat while I'm cutting it out. Do note that the clips have a flat side and a curvy side. So pull the flat sides down so you can lay the work flat on the table without deforming the fabric. If I bought these again, I would probably get ones that were opaque and not translucent, because I like to work on the floor, and some of these are just disappearing into the carpet if I leave them there. But otherwise, they seem to be a good product. I don't think I'll be using the sewing machine today. Fleece is really easy to sew. It'll be just easier to hand sew this than to actually clean off my sewing machine and find a chair and sit in a chair for as long as it takes. I can hand sew reclined in bed, which is a lot easier on me. So I've sewn together an upper. I did have to stretch quite a bit around my heel to get on and off my foot. So when I make the leather final, I probably want to leave the top quarter inch, half inch unstitched, so this can open up a little bit more. But otherwise, it is making progress, starting to look like a shoe. This part is going to be a lot harder to do with the leather, which I can't pin. But here I have laid out approximately where the puckers are going to go in the sole before I stitch that on. I think on the leather I will pin the seam on the sides where it's straight, and then I'll just have to wing what's going on with the toe there. One shoe mock-up completed. Sewing two curved seams together is always a challenge. Just line up each stitch one at a time so that the two surfaces are as parallel as you can get them. Some puckering is expected in this pattern. I could maybe do a little better. It's going to be harder on the leather because I won't be able to pin it. But this is kind of a little bit loose, but it mostly fits. It definitely needs that flap added, so so there's something for the tie to hold on to when I tie it up. And I think, as we mentioned before, we're going to not sew it up quite all the way here, so it'll be easier to get on and off. I mean, with the fleece, it's very easy, it just stretches. But with the leather, it won't stretch quite that easily. But I think overall it is a go. Maybe I want to take in a little bit. Well, that's not going to be a seam there next time, so that's not going to matter. There'll be a tie here to pull this in. I think we're good to go for leather. Feels quite comfortable. So I figured out where I went wrong on transferring the pattern pack pattern to my custom fit pattern. The pattern pack doesn't have a seam here at all. It has a significant overlap between these two pieces, so that diamond shape on the pattern was way up here. The heel comes all the way up to there, well, just short of that diamond, and the vamp overlaps it. So this entire area is open, which allows the shoe to open up very easily for getting on and off. So that's something to consider if I do a second version of this pattern, is to, instead of just having a little seam allowance on this heel piece, I need to have a big old gap allowance instead.